Everyone, and I am klips-voc, and welcome to the start of the DAG podcast.
First and hopefully a long line.
Yeah, this is where we talk about video games, news, or anything in general.
And today we are covering the gaming wars. So hopefully you find that one interesting.
Yeah. The first thing I should probably bring up is uh, which console do you prefer? To be honest, I prefer the PlayStation.
Uh, I feel like, well, first of all, the Xbox and PlayStation just feel so similar. It's hardly even worth comparing them. But I feel like each one has its own different, strengths. Like PC obviously has most of everything, plus more powerful depending on which one you get. PlayStation and Xbox are more simple, and most Nintendo things are easier to do and stuff.
Yeah, it usually based on preferences. Like the PC has a lot more options, but a lot less portable. And like consoles like PlayStation or Xbox are the opposite. More portable but less options. So you might be thinking, "Oh, well, the laptop is superior." Well, it isn't because it's not as strong as the PC.
And Nintendo are usually the most portable. Like the Switch is really portable. Same with the DS. Most of the stuff.
Yeah, but Nintendo doesn't is very inkept with itself. It doesn't reach out to other people the same way as other companies do.
Fair enough. It is. Most of the games are just exclusives, but I feel like if it really has a lot of good exclusives, if you ask me, like old reliable. And say what you want about Nintendo as a company, but they can produce some pretty consistent products.
Yeah. Um but mostly about the console wars is usually the standalone piece PS4 versus console. I mean, sorry, PS4 versus Xbox, and they have their ups and downs. Like PS4 or 5 exclusives is like God of War or something like what was that game again? It was
Now, I feel like if I had to choose, I think it'd go up to this. The Xbox Game Pass is like a big steal, and with Microsoft acquiring so much, like they recently acquired Activision, from what I've heard, uh, it's becoming more and more valuable. But I also feel like on the PlayStation side, they just have better exclusives all around. Stuff like Spider Man and God of War, like big reasons to get a PlayStation.
yeah. Well, it's all based on preference, and I have a biased opinion. Well, not really, since I've tried almost any console before. But I would prefer a lot more of the PS4 or 5 because it's just one of my preferences. And let's talk about the controller for a little bit here. The PS4 controller is the DualShock 4, which hold on, let me grab it right now. The DualShock 4 has of course the joystick. The immediate difference between the DualShock 4 and the Xbox controller is where the sticks are placed. The D-pad is where the Xbox stick is, and the stick is where the Xbox D-pad is. More so,
Honestly, for me, I've never really cared much for controllers, to be honest, like unless they're like egregiously bad. But I do have one thing to note on the matter, and that is the speaker on the PS5 controller is especially annoying. If you, like, it never sounds properly. Like, in almost all cases, it's better to just have a mic.
Hmm. Yeah. The more on the DualShock controller, slight changes would be instead of letters, we have shapes, and the triggers are not RB or RT, they're R1 and R2. Also, another thing, the massive D-pad in the middle. Let's talk about that in a little bit. The D-pad, for my experience, the DualShock 4 has a pretty hard time checking up censoring and touchpad stuff, but it does what it's supposed to. Sometimes it glitters out for some reason.
I don't think I've ever had that happen for me, but yeah, it's just so most games it does like sometimes I wonder why it's like even there. Like in most games that aren't exclusives, you struggle to find a reason to even use it. Like there's no reason to have that button. Most of the times it's used for the map, which options are other times used for.
Yeah. Also, there's another thing that's in this six axis, where it basically uses Wii motion controls, which is pretty niche. I feel like the only game that uses this is Detroit Become Human. If you've never seen it, then you should.
Honestly, I didn't even know there were motion controls.
Yeah, that's why it's like so rare for game PS games to use the motion controls in DualShock and or the PS5 controllers. I need to see what they're called. But yeah, that that's basically the difference between the controllers.
Yeah, now I don't own an Xbox, but I do have a few friends, and from what I've seen, it mostly appears to be just about the same. So I think we should move on to Nintendo Joy Cons. What do you think of them?
Nintendo Joy-Cons. To be honest, like those Joy-Cons have been gone through. Like Nintendo's controllers have gone through a lot, and the Joy-Cons, I feel like the only downside for it is like no, two things. It always drifts and it's pretty small.
All right, so first of all, this is like a knock on the like what do you call it? The mini Switch, the Switch Lite, for not being able to take off its Joy Cons. That sucks. I don't know why they included that, but I don't know, choices were made. So, speaking on the Joy Cons themselves, when they're attached to the Switch, they feel just about the same as average controllers. Like, you feel normal. But when they're taken off, it's a strange feeling. You would, from what they look like, you'd expect it to be uncomfortable, but they actually feel kind of fine to use. That is, unless you're playing something where you actually need to use more than four buttons, which then it becomes kind of a mess.
Hmm. Yeah. Also, another thing that the Joy Cons, like, I need to say this, like, the little, the little cover they use for the ZL and ZR, also bad name for bumpers. It usually is never used because either it feels like you're never pressing the buttons, or it's just uncomfortable to use, which is which is kind of disappointing because Nintendo is notorious for making things like, I don't know, there and easy to use.
Mm,
The
I agree with you, but I've seen a lot of people use them, and I never got it. I think it's just because either way, those two, it's like pick your poison because if you do it normally, they're so small and inconvenient to hit. It's also difficult to hold. But if you do them with those coverings, then you're basically feels like you're doing nothing. But it's more effective, I guess. I can't tell.
Yeah, no one really can. Also, honorable mention to the Wii remote. It was like my um It was my favorite thing to play with. It's the only thing to play with when we did we Mario Kart Wii. That was like the favorite thing. And I still loved how the Wii used the motion controls for Mario Kart Wii. And it only felt right if it was Mario Kart Wii. Not even Mario Kart 8 Deluxe can replicate the feeling of the motion controls for Mario Kart Wii.
Honestly, I'm gonna give a hot take here. I do not like the Wii remote at all. I remember vividly. I went back to play Brawl like years after, and I played on. I had trouble playing on a Wiimote. Like, how did I play on this? Like, what is this?
I guess it was like the only thing there, so we basically like used it like it was nothing. But
Yeah,
God, that we evolved to have stuff like these controllers.
the modern standards, the Wiimote's not that good at all, but it may do.
Yeah. Uh, there's another thing that I'm thinking about talking about is speaking of like Nintendo and stuff, is anyone excited anymore about Smash Ultimate's new DLCs? Because I don't think anyone is anymore.
Well, that's because they stopped coming out. But on the subject of DLCs, like I just gotta say, Dora was such a disappointment for me, and I'm not sure if this is a hot take, but like I would have been happier with anyone else. I really don't like Kingdom Hearts. It's like one of my least favorite franchises ever. You can roast me in the comments all you want, but that's what I think of it.
Yeah. I've never played, I played Sora, but I never played Kingdom Hearts. I never really touched that at all. Another thing on that is, Mario Kart, eh? It's kind of a hit or miss with Mario Kart. You either always have a blast or just don't feel like it for that day.
I Mario Kart is like sure there's stuff as long as the it feels good to race and stuff like that. I feel like it's fairly easy to craft a good time with it, especially because it's a party game. As long as the party game is playable, you're gonna like it. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be playable.
Yeah, like something one or the other. Mario Party. There's one little thing that I've learned with my little friend here
Really, what have you learned?
is that for some reason, every time I play with someone else, I always win in Mario Party. It's like a weird occurrence. Every time I play by myself, it doesn't work. Like, it's like a weird experience for me.
So we like to call being blessed by the luck gods, I suppose.
Or maybe I'm secretly good and don't know it. I don't know. I don't know why it happens.
5% of Mario Party is skill. Like 95% of it is pure luck.
Yeah, that is true.
So, speaking on exclusives, let's talk about some other ones. I'll start with Xbox because it has the least amount to talk about. I feel like most of the Xbox exclusives people really care about is Halo.
And Halo.
What do you think about Halo?
Halo, I think I barely played Halo because mostly I had Doom and I think like some random obscure games. Um, but when I played Halo, I was like, kind of cool. And then didn't play again because I had other games to play.
See, now, I like Halo, okay? I like the few Halo games I played because I played a few Halo games, all right? And now, would I say it's worth buying an Xbox for? I would not say that, especially since it's recently gone to PC. But again, exclusives aren't really why you would want to buy an Xbox.
Yeah, exactly. The reason why you would want to buy an Xbox is mostly for the feel of console and the
And the Game Pass, mainly the Game Pass.
yeah. Let's talk.
Now for
Yes, let's talk about the other exclusives.
the PlayStation exclusives. Now,
PlayStation has like I'm pretty sure 20 exclusives or more.
definitely aren't getting into all of those on this episode.
Yeah, but a few
We
of
can just
them,
talk about some of these for now, right?
yeah, like The Last of Us or
You're
Spider-Man.
the one. You're the big Last of Us fan. Why don't you start us off talking about that, especially with how contentious The Last of Us 2 was? What are your thoughts?
Okay, my thoughts on the first Last of Us. I played Last of Us Remastered. Mwah, a masterpiece. I loved it. The only thing I had trouble was is I kept on getting stuck everywhere. But that's mainly because of my big, smooth brain. But other than that, I had a very fun time. I love the story, I love the characters, the voice acting, the animation, everything was mwah. And you even had the choice to like if you had a bigger TV with more stuff, then you had the choice to basically upgrade the look of and graphics of your game. But The Last of Us Part 2 is where I'm starting to hit a road because Last of Us 2 was a massive there was a massive divide in The Last of Us 2. You either experienced it or you didn't. And here's the reason why. Spoiler warning, um Joel dies. Joel dies by this asshole named Abby. Abby was straight up an asshole. You can tell. But in the middle of the game, when you're going, when you're now stuck as, I th- Jesus Christ, why do I not remember her name? Ellie? Ellie. When you now play as Ellie, and in the middle of all of this, you play as Abby. You play as Abby. First of all, the way you were introduced to Abby, you actually play as her, but you didn't notice that she was the villain until she met Joel. When she met Joel, when she met Joel, and Tommy was also there because they were being chased by walkers. Um, she she straight up brutalized Joel, and when Ellie was trying to find Joel in the storm, she found Joel in the basement and literally watched Joel die in front of her eyes. Now here's where it gets controversial start. After this happens, we go back in time in Abby's perspective when she was young. And now this is where it gets all divided. You have to play as Abby. You have to play as her. There's no turning back. There's no way to change it. You have to play as her. And the entire time you play as her, you either rarely felt sympathy when her father died or didn't give a shit. That's the two emotions that people could have felt. And my opinion about all of this is I played it and I hated playing as her. But when I played as Ellie, it was fun. This was a roller coaster and not the fun one. This was the roller coaster that turns you 360, pulls you to loops, and has a massive drop. The massive drop being Ellie and Abby get to fight again, of course. That massive drop was the most underwhelming thing that happened. I know it was supposed to replicate what an actual fight would feel like. After something tragic happened to both of them. soulless, grasping silence. And I know I was trying to make viewers feel that feeling, but for me, I just didn't like it. At least put on some music. And then, of course,
Honestly,
after the fight happens, Ellie gets close to killing her and loses. Well, not loses, but gave up. And then they went their separate ways.
what do you think of that ending? What are your thoughts on it? Should she have killed her? What do you think?
I think that Ellie should have killed her, like outright. Joel,
Oh,
by the way, Ellie had no mother or father figure when she was born. Her mother died when she was born. So, that's like something tragic. And the only father figure she had wa- was Joel after, like, she needed to go to the Fireflies to make a cure, and she was sent with Joel. After, like, a few close calls, and tragically, I'm pretty sure his name was Tana? Starts with a T. Tara. After Tara dying, which was Joel's sister, um, Joel only had Ellie. He could have like walked away, but he didn't. He kept on going for her. And then after all of the other crazy stuff happening, um, Joel and Ellie started to get attached to each other as like a father and daughter. And just to see Ellie Ellie's only father figure in her entire life, or somewhat of a father figure, die in front of their eyes from this random asshole who she didn't even know. To be honest, I would have killed her right then and there, but Ellie was like literally on the last grip of death or something.
hmm. I never played any of the games, so I can't even comment on this. We might have to rename this video to Clips Rants about Half Life or La- fucking
Last of Us.
Clips Rants about Last of Us for 5 minutes.
No, that was more like 10 minutes.
Anyway, same difference. Oy. Anyway, is that all you have to say about Last of Us?
Yeah. Let's talk about other exclusives of PS4.
I'll talk about what I think about God of War since I've actually played it. It's probably not going to be 10 minutes like you ranting about Last of Us, but I can try. Uh, I think God of War. Okay, let's start off from the beginning. The real old ones. I think they still hold up, surprisingly. Sure, they're a bit clunky in some areas because they're old, but I think as games they hold up very well. And my God of War 3 is actually my second favorite game in the whole series, behind Ragnarok, which I'd prefer because well,
It's
you just know
Ragnarok.
if you played it. Like Ragnarok has so much good aspects. It practically overshadows everything negative I can say about it. Well, I can say something about God of War 2018, was it? I don't remember, 2019, whatever. The
I'm pretty
remake.
sure it's
Not the
2018. That
remake.
was the one that was the only one that I've played.
What do you think about it, God of War 4? Just to get your thoughts out of the way.
God of War 4 was pretty nice. I loved it. I loved it. The new Game Plus, I wasn't interested, but I loved the game. It's pretty nice. Except for that one part where Atreus becomes a cocky douchebag. Other than that,
Yeah, we don't want to. Now, what I think of the game. I have a bit of a controversial opinion. At least I think it's controversial. I think the game is good, but it's not a masterpiece, and it definitely isn't like great in many aspects.
you
For
think it's
starters,
mid?
a lot of the game is a walking simulator. I hate to throw that term out there, but like it just feels true. the gameplay, although good, is lacking in a lot of aspects, mainly variety and such, which Ragnarok thankfully fixed. Like, it blew it out of the water completely, basically.
Also
Well,
added like two extra things like the spear and the spear stuff.
yeah. Plus, like the shield stuff, and we're this isn't what's it called about Ragnarok. This is about 2018, and for what it was then, I think it held up well. I think, but after God of War Ragnarok, it's the same case for as Doom Eternal and Doom 2018. Or hey, wait a minute. For me, where once I played Doom Eternal, I literally cannot go back to Doom 2016. Was it? Was it 2016? I'll just say that. I literally just can't go back to the first because the second just blew it out of the water.
Yeah,
Although, so this is why I suggest if you ever are considering playing like God of War for the first time or getting a PlayStation for it, do not start with Ragnarok. Start with either the first trilogy of games plus like what is it called? The prequel? I forgot what it's called. If you really feel like it, it's okay. Not as good as the main line, but pretty solid as its own thing. But if you are considering, I would recommend starting with God of War 4 because you cannot go back to playing God of War 4 after you played God of War Ragnarok. Just trust me.
yeah. So that's God of War right there. Now on to my game of favorite PS exclusive of all time. I know I said I was a hardcore, well, not hardcore. I know I said I was a. He said, I know that he said I was a loving fan of The Last of Us, but there's something I love more and deep in my heart.
What
Detroit
might that be?
Become Human. That
Is that an exclusive? I don't know. I've never played.
it's a, it's not exclusive, but it's only for PlayStation and PC.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it. So basically exclusive.
Yeah,
All
it
right.
is a masterpiece of. It's all what Telltale wants to be. It has better graphics, more story, you get more choices along the way. It's very adaptable. Like Telltale has a hard time making your choices in even down to the smallest word matter. It has a hard time doing that. But this game went all out. If I start giving a speech about Detroit Become Human and talking about its last minute detail, this podcast will go on for 2 hours. But let me just sum it up in a few sentences for you. The Detroit Become Human is, I really recommended it if you love um adventure stories, drama, action, build up, or if you just love storytelling in general. This game has it all. Like action, drama, like it's the subject of Detroit Become Human is there's three androids you control. Connor, Alice, and no, Connor, Kara, and Marcus. All three of these androids were built to um, assist and service for humans. But then, also, by the way, this is taking place in Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit? That's the name of the game.
Yeah. Where in Detroit, Michigan, these androids are kind of taking over jobs instead of assisting them. No, they assist them and they also do jobs. And there's a bunch of other homeless people out there putting up signs to like saying like I lost my job to an android. And this is what basically society would look like in the future if we had androids or robots.
Elon Musk.
Yeah. And by the way, this is taking place in 2052.
Wow.
And that Connor is wait, Kara is a home assistant at of a father and daughter, Todd and Alice. Todd is an abusive father who drinks a lot, and there's this thing called red eyes, which is basically meth.
Does
And
it make your eyes red?
no, red ice.
Oh, okay. I'm dumb.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, he's addicted to red ice, and he's an alcoholic, and that's basically the start of Kara. You actually start the game with Connor. Connor is an investigator of deviant androids, aka androids who are now conscious of themselves and what their quote unquote purpose is.
They became human in Detroit.
Yes.
Wow.
And he's investigating this android. uh I forgot his name, but you investigate this android, and you actually get to choose if you successfully detained him, killed him, or you either die. You either die with the suspect, you die without it and saved it. Like, there's so many different ways, and they even show you basically like a what are those charts where it shows you a chart of what different paths you could have chose after a chapter is done. And what was the other guy? Kara, 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 and Marcus. Marcus is also assistant at home, taking care of this popular painter, and you just take care of an old man in a nice home. But then at some point, also, I forgot to say spoilers. Did I say spoiler?
You did not say spoilers. That's what I was thinking. Like, bro, let's talk about this entire. Well, the game is how many? I mean, like, if you wanted to play it, you would probably do it by now.
Yeah. Either way, I'm getting sidetracked to the summary of the game. The summary,
Yeah. If you don't like this, folks, this is what I've had to deal with since the game came out.
yes, me like talking about it too much. And long story short, this game, the main focus of the story is deviants in androids uprising in Detroit, Michigan, and you get to choose how, when, where, and who uprises. Well, where's already covered, but yeah, that is Detroit Become Human summarized.
Really?
Either way, what were we talking about? Exclusives? Oh yeah, there's no exclusive.
Yes. We were talking about exclusives before you get sidetracked with everything we talk about.
Yeah. Also, there's an exclusive. I'll just talk about this briefly. It's called Dreams. Basically, a better version of Roblox on PlayStation. It's pretty cool.
Mm, all right. Speaking of, anyone remember like the Xbox? Was it 1 or 360? I don't remember. Where you could play Roblox on it. Like I looked on the PlayStation 4 and 5. There's no Roblox on it. Did that count as an exclusive?
I'm pretty sure it didn't because I think the reason why it was on there because Microsoft had owned Roblox before. I think.
Oh, I don't. Well, I don't know. Doesn't count for the ranking. I'm not ranking. The talking. So, are you done with that?
Yeah.
How about Spider Man? What do we think of that? Spider Man PS4? There's a sequel coming out. I'm really excited for it. From what we've seen, which I'll be honest, isn't really a lot, it looks pretty good.
So we had Spider-Man for the PS4, and we had Spider-Man Miles Morales for the PS4 and 5, and Spider-Man for the PS4 and 5.
It's actually just for the PS5.
Oh, just for the PS5. Okay, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man 2.
No, Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales.
I'll start with my thoughts on the first game. I think that it is still holds up, even with Miles Morales out. It's just, although, it's obviously spoilers. I don't even think I need to say that anymore. Um, some of the stealth sections, like where you play as MJ or Miles, they really don't work for me. Or some of the puzzles when you play as Peter, they don't work for me. But like most of the other game is great. Like I'll be honest, the gadgets sometimes trivialize the combat, and there might be too many of them to the point where some of them are just kind of useless. But overall, it's a really good game. I would recommend, but it's not really a must play if you ask me.
And I played a little bit of Spider-Man. Well, not a little bit. I think I got into the boss fight. Like, there's many boss fights, but I've gotten to a boss fight.
Which one?
I think it was the one in the laser room with I don't really remember, but I had to go in an event to find him, and he threw rocks
Oh,
everywhere.
that's super early game. Shocker.
Shocker!
Wait, is it? I'm not sure anymore. Whatever. Yeah, works anyways.
Anyway, I know enough about like Spider-Man to give you the gist. It's pretty fun. You like action, parkour, or combat in general. I suggest you pick this game out, especially if you like Spider-Man or just Marvel in general.
Now, on the subject of Miles Morales, this is a contentious game from what I've seen, but honestly, I don't really give into the negativity. I think this might be a controversial opinion, which like the fifth I've had this video, but I prefer it over the original. I know it's shorter. I know it's like not as good in some aspects, but the combat, I find Venom to be more fun than gadgets. I find the slinging to be more fun. I find most of the boss fights to be good. The villain is not that good, but the final boss is amazing, bro. I One of my favorite bosses in the whole series, if not like the favorite.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about PC's wonky, quote unquote exclusive. You see, the best thing you're gonna get out of PC is either websites or Steam. Steam is basically the home place for any video game to be created.
Although there's a few games that is like they're easy to run. Like I have a laptop for one. I don't have this high end PC, and I can run a few good games on it, like Team Fortress 2, Left 4 Dead, CS:GO. Those are the ones that come to mind. Although I'm
For
sure you could do a lot more with a high end PC, and Steam basically has everything. You can search up literally anything on Steam, and I guarantee you there will be something there.
yeah, like dating sim, Dead by Daylight. I'm pretty sure some people know that one.
That actually exists, and it was made by Behavior.
Yeah.
Hooked on You. Available now.
Um, like PC, there's not really an exclusive game, more like a worldwide kind of thing.
Although there are a few exclusives for say that more like they wouldn't work on like most Valve games. They don't work on consoles. There's like a PS3 Team Fortress 2.
Oh yeah, they shut down TF2 servers on the Xbox.
Oh yeah. But it mainly doesn't work there. It's meant to be played on keyboard and mouse instead of on a controller.
And even then, I no, the what I was about to say is for another part, for another day.
Alright. So not much to dig into there, especially because I don't have a high end PC, just a laptop, so I can't really discuss the better. Although I would say TF2 is like a top notch game, so I wouldn't say better. I'd say more exquisite. high taste games.
And it's free, man.
Give it a shot. You can run it on your 50-year-old laptop. I guarantee it.
Also, I have like a trash PC, Windows 10. I don't even know how old it is.
Yeah, hmm. I think that's everything we wanted to talk about, yeah?
Yeah,
So, yeah, this has been the DAG podcast. I'm Dan. This is Clips. And just to thank you for sitting through our horrible rants and stuff like that. And hopefully you'll stick around for the next one. It's been a blast.
I will see you all next time. Back from the ready to say it at 3, 2, 1. The DAG podcast. See you later. Three.
DAG podcast. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. DAG podcast.
DAG podcast. See you
See you
later.
later.
Edit that part. Edit that overall.
I'll edit it. Okay. See you later.
Yeah.